guys. Okay, so two things. Um, First is, so our channel has a blog, and I'm not very faithful at going on it, I'll be honest. And I can't blog to save my life. But anyway, so it is no longer Feisty Fridays, it is Fantastic Fridays with Rita and myself, but I wasn't aware of that. So, welcome to Fantastic Fridays, which I think, I like that word actually. I mean, fantastic is a little too optimistic normally for me, but it sort of, I guess it sort of suits my bubbly personality. So, other news. Oh, okay. So, Reed and I were discussing that our Fridays videos are sort of gonna kind of have a theme. And that would just be to come to terms with the week, whether it's a great week or an awful week or an week or just one of those really down months, whatever it may be, just come to terms with it and go into the weekend with a kicking and fighting spirit, because the weekend can be so hard sometimes. And so we're going to give you advice or things that have worked in our lives to help us recover, to help you become or stay motivated as you go into the weekend. So, yeah. Oh, and our videos are going to go in order because I like order. So, last week we talked about why and how, but like why you would embrace recovery. And this week we are going to talk about some potential downfalls or pits you could get stuck in while, like, as you go through recovery, and definitely as you start. So, I think looking at things that would make you stumble is very hard, but vitally important thing to do. Because if you're not aware of it and you're not trying to fix it, you're always going to keep falling on your face time and time again. But if you figure out what those things are, and if you are at least trying to learn what they are, maybe the next time you run into it, you won't fall on your face. Maybe you'll just fall on your knees. Or maybe you'll just completely walk around it. Yeah, so the best thing for me was just to make a list. This is actually just my whiteboard, but I just made a list of things that hindered me or that tended to set me back. So this can, only you would know, and it's a hard list to make. It really is. Tears can be shed. But it's hard because you have to surrender. Because these things, they're bigger than you, because they're causing you to falter, and maybe they're the reason you started all this in the first place. And you have to admit to others what's going on, admit to yourself, admit that you yourself might be a stumbling block in your own recovery. And you may not know what all of these things are, and that's okay. You probably shouldn't know what they all are. You know, as long as you're aware and you try to learn what they are as you go through your journey, that's all that really matters. But you might have an idea of a few things, like maybe it's your home life or people or your friends, because maybe they're not understanding, or the wrong kind of friends, or maybe you don't have any friends, or maybe it's a situation, just like a specific circumstance, or maybe it's a place because something bad happened there. But just jot it down, make a list, and then we're gonna find different ways around it. So, hold on, I have to take off my Disney Princess magnets. They're really cool. They have dress-up clothes. It's pretty awesome. Okay, make some room here on my magnet board. I realize that you probably may not be able to see this, but that's okay. Cool. So just write it down. So let's say it's a person, a specific person that whenever you're around them, you just seem to get worse for whatever reason. Okay, so what can we do? Like, part of avoiding these pitfalls is being proactive. trying to be a little bit optimistic and thinking about how we could solve this, which is hard, really hard, and you definitely don't have to do it alone, and maybe you even can't do it alone, and that's okay. And if you can, well, that's good too. Okay, so there's this person. Like, what could I do? Well, I could avoid them altogether. I could just shut them out, and who knows? Maybe that's what I need for a while, or maybe that's what I need permanently. Or maybe I could just avoid them for a little bit, until I can tell them what's going on. I've actually done that a lot. I just completely avoid a person, and then eventually I'm like, hey, so this is what was going on. What else could you do? You could talk to them. You could honestly say what you need them to hear, what you need from them, what's going on so that they're not helping you. Maybe you could listen to them because they have feelings too. And maybe you actually need to hear what they have to say. Or maybe you can not listen to them. Because maybe the specific person is saying things that you don't need to be hearing right now. So maybe you need to not take that to heart, to not listen, to find that little voice inside of you, or maybe one of our voices on the collab channel, or someone you really look up to. Find their voice until you can find your own. And whenever that person's talking, just remember that what they have to say doesn't change who you are. It doesn't make you worthless or meaningless or fat or ugly, anything like that. It's just a person and it's just their words. And even though it hurts, you don't need to be consumed by that anymore. You are more than that person's words. Maybe you could look at it at a different angle. Maybe you could try to think about where they're coming from. Maybe you could tell someone else about it and see what their opinions are. Because maybe your side of it is a little skewed. And who knows, maybe their side is a little skewed too. So, anyway, this is what you can do with everything. So, like, if it's a place, so, like, you'd put that place in here and you'd think about things you could do. So, like, in addition to these, you could take someone with you to that place that knows. Or you could take someone that doesn't know, but that way you're just not alone. Or you could, when you're in there, come armed and try to change the way you think about that. Like, that place, if something really bad happened there, it's just a place. It is 4 walls. What happened there, it's not always going to consume you. And it might have changed your life forever, but it's not going to be forever consuming you. And those 4 walls in which that thing happened, it's going to disappear. I mean, it's a building. Eventually it's going to be knocked down. If it's a situation, you could think about how to address it, like maybe like why it comes up. If it's like your family life, like you might want to address that maybe in family counseling and in individual counseling. And yeah, so it's one of those things that you have to figure out for yourself, and you can have help. You can have a lot of help, but at the end, and we can even give you ideas, but you're going to know if it works for you or not, and that's what I mean by figuring it out by yourself. Yeah, so I felt like I was going to say something else, like there's something else you could do, but who knows, maybe you'll figure it out and send it in a comment. So it's a long journey. I'm still figuring it out for me personally in my life, and that's okay. It happens, and it's definitely hard still, and but at least now I know that, hey, this thing is coming up, and this has always been a really bad thing for me, so what are we gonna do so I don't fall on my face? Because sometimes, even though I want to fall on my face, I'm not going to. Or even though I feel like I might deserve to falter, I'm not going to. So, I thought someone was coming in, but they're not. Well, Anyway, have a great weekend, guys. Heart you all.